Alright, it is Thursday, November 11th, and I'm going to be doing a drive from Rosedale to my house in northeast Minneapolis. This is a short drive, but I've noticed some flakiness with roads with leaves, so I want to just kind of highlight some of that behavior and just kind of see how it does. And it looks like it's starting to snow, which is kind of depressing, but without further ado, let's go for a drive and see how FSD Beta 10.4 handles all the awesome conditions out right now. So a little bit of an abrupt stop there. That person was not even anywhere close to our lane, but the car still, hit the brakes like it was going to avoid a collision there, which is unnecessary. So I'm gonna report that. Something as they smoothen out the inputs with FSD, that's something they can definitely address going forward. So far over the past few days, 10.4 has been interesting. Looks like somebody crashed their car here. What happened? Looks like FSD is not liking that. So I'm just giving a little throttle input here, just to go around that mess back there. It looks like somebody beached their car, which is a bit unfortunate. Not a good way to spend your Thursday night. Hopefully FSD Beta doesn't put us into a similar situation here. So let's see how good it sets us up here. It's going to have to put us in the middle lane, and somebody's behind us, so I'm kind of babying the throttle here. And yeah, it'd put us into the wrong lane. Not surprising, human beings screw that up every time. It's super confusing leaving this mall. But nonetheless, I took over, and we'll engage FSD here and give it another shot, but that didn't work out so well. I don't know how they would address something like that back there, so, honestly, interesting. So the blades itself, so the car is saying that the weather may be degraded, but as you can see, it's barely snowing. It's just my wiper blades are garbage, so let me turn on the fan on the windshield there, and that will hopefully make it a little better. But back there, I don't know how they could improve that, right? I mean, it's very poorly marked. You really have to be in the middle of the road before you make that hard right turn. If you don't, with all the traffic here, you're gonna end up making a wrong turn. So maybe some better maps would help that situation, but like I said, human drivers screw it up every time. Every time I come to this mall, I almost screw it up. So not something I'm going to be a stickler about. So we're technically entering a quasi-highway there. I would like to see the car not hug the left line so much there, because if somebody's turning, they're going to be kind of hugging that line on the right, which could put us unnecessarily close to them. So I would honestly like to see the car, like I said, stay more to the right on those harder turns. It's taking almost the racing line, which, as a track guy, that's awesome, but not on city streets. And you can see it do much of the same there as it merged onto the freeway. And I don't know what it's doing here. Yeah, somebody was not super happy. So that was a fail. I don't know what the heck was going on there. Let's report that. I have no idea. So that was entering the freeway here, Highway 36, going on to 35W West. It was still, as you can see by the screen, the FSD stack was still engaged, so I reported that. It was just a traditional Autopilot stack. Obviously, they're not really changing that much lately, so I wouldn't have reported otherwise. But merging something that FSD really struggles with still, I could tell the team hasn't applied a ton of focus to that. I do a lot of highway driving, a good mix, I should say, half highway, half city. But they've really struggled to maybe address that. So. So you'll notice the car put the high beams on here, and we're, on city streets. It's hitting the brake unnecessarily there again, so I'm going to report that. There's somebody behind me, so I'm applying some throttle input here. But not sure what the car is seeing. Again, I really wish, as where folks are starting to test this, somebody that's fairly technical, I would love to see that developer mode come back, to see everything the car is seeing, right? We're seeing a sanitized version of that here, so it'd be interesting to see if it saw, other street lights and kind of why it was making the inputs it's making. For me anyways, it'd be super helpful just to see what the car is doing, just to rationalize when it does brake suddenly why it's doing so. Because right now it's kind of a black box, we don't really know why. So navigation wise, I just canceled that. I specifically have it go to this Magellan pipeline place here to our right, just to take this road, County Road C. It's brand new road. County Road D that goes by my house is extremely rough. It looks as if a bomber strafed it yesterday, so they're not going to be fixing that road anytime soon, so I try to take a different route. So it sounds like we're finally getting the waypoints with the newer code base, so hopefully with the next FSD release we'll see that. So once that comes, I'll be super happy to be using that to set up waypoints to more intelligently navigate, because I don't always agree with how the car navigates, and it's the same with Google Maps. Google Maps, they're always going to take the fastest route, but unfortunately Tesla's system right now doesn't allow you to pick between a couple different options. They just pick the fastest and that's it. So for right now, I have ways to trick it out to tell it to go certain different ways and so forth. So as you can see, the high beams are still on, and now it turned it off there, but and the wipers are going quite fast here, so I'm guessing it's because there's some smeared water on there. We're not quite below freezing yet. We're at like 37 Fahrenheit, so it shouldn't, nothing's frozen on the windshield even with the heat going and stuff like that, but I'm guessing it's just having a tough time seeing, and that's why it's doing that. Yep, and there's the error message right there. So we're seeing full self-driving may be degraded, poor weather detected. So it's not liking even a little bit of snow and maybe some additional water over the cameras there. But from my angle, it looks pretty clear. So I'm not sure why it's bugging out. I drove a lot in the rain yesterday, and it was quite challenging. The car kept trying to slow down under the speed limit because it couldn't see very well. So it'd be really interesting to see how the team tackles those poor visibility situations with vision only. It's gonna be tough. My car has radar, so I wouldn't be opposed to seeing them use radar still, but obviously they've made that declaration that they're not going to use that going forward. So it'd be interesting to see how they update the software to accommodate accordingly. Alright, not a bad job with that turn. That turn is usually never that big of a struggle, but it's definitely an improvement over 10.3, where that would hesitate every single time at the intersection. But this one up here is also an interesting one. Every FSD build has hesitated, too much with this intersection. See how it does here. There's nobody else here, so let's see if it figures itself out quickly. Yeah, and again, it's kind of overly cautiously creeping. As you can see, there's nobody near here, so looks like no changes there between 10.2 and 10.4. It's just really the same struggle. So great job with that turn there. It didn't jam on the brakes. It was a smooth input as if I was driving. So that corner right there is a very tight turn. In 10.2 it was pretty rough. 10.3 was worse, but 10.4 is noticeably better than both those builds and very human-like. So, well, I think I've said some bad things about 10.4. There are some good things as well, right? I mentioned before in previous videos, the braking inputs are much improved. How it handles a right turn right there, as you saw as an example, was pretty buttery smooth. So. So one thing you'll notice here with this left turn, you'll notice the car makes a really swooping right turn here. I really wish Tesla would, hopefully address this in a future build, but the car should hug the line. I mean, there's plenty of room here on a street like this to square it off, right? So if people are coming past us from behind on the right, they have the room to do so. When the car goes all the way to the right, it really bugs out. So. We had a lot of trees dump their leaves today, and honestly, so far it's not too bad on the street. I had some flakiness earlier today. I wish I was recording when that happened, but I took some snapshots from the computer here to send them to the team for feedback, just to see what's going on. But this drive's been pretty uneventful from that perspective there. So. Awesome. Well, we're home, so thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.